Hey everyone, this is John Puritz. Welcome to the Man Up Already podcast. This show is dedicated to each of us being better in all areas of our lives, mentally, spiritually, physically, and relationally. We want to help you be a better you because when you man up already, the world around you is greatly impacted. Here on the podcast, we don't believe you're an accident. We believe each of us is created for purpose, and this show is dedicated to helping you discover and live out that purpose. Again, welcome to the show, and let's check out another great episode. All right, everyone. Hey, welcome to the Man Up Already podcast. As always, super excited to have you here. And today, we are going to dive into one of the most hope-filled promises in Scripture, Psalm 126:6. You know, I share constantly that I'm in Psalms and Proverbs every single day, and it has had such incredible impact in my life. And I came across Psalm 126 the other day, and I was like, man, that's a great one. We need to make sure that we have that discussion here on the podcast. So Psalm 126 says, Psalm 126:6 says, he who continually goes forth weeping, bearing seed for sowing, shall doubtless come again with rejoicing, bringing his sheaves with him. And so this message is for those of you that are walking through a painful season, or you feel like you're sowing, but you're not seeing, okay? What grabbed me about this psalm was, shall doubtless come again. Like that just really stood out to me. So that's the thing I want to kind of hone into. So if you're dealing with, maybe a painful season, this podcast episode really is for you. So let's talk about context, okay? During the writing of this, the context is Israel had just come out of captivity, okay? They were free, but they had to rebuild. And it's kind of like how life works, right? We survive a hard season, we go through a hard season, but on the other side of that is being rebuilt. There's restoration, and that takes time. So Psalm 126 is really a song of hope in the middle of that rebuilding process. The promise is that God sees our pain. He sees your pain. He sees my pain when we're going through those seasons. The verse begins, he who continually goes forth weeping. This is the person who keeps moving even though their heart is breaking. They don't quit. They don't stop. They keep putting one foot in front of the other. My friends, God sees that. Our tears are not a sign of weakness. They are evidence that we're in the fight. There is pain there, and we've talked a lot about on this podcast that pain has a purpose. There's a process. There's pain is not a bad thing. There's healing. There's pain has a lesson that we can learn from and we can grow. Okay, but God sees that pain. The principle in all of this is what we sow in tears, we reap in joy. Okay, what does it mean when it says bearing seed for sowing? In ancient times, in ancient Israel, seed was very, very precious. Sometimes it was the last of what they had, and planting it was an act of faith because once it was in the ground, that was it, right? It was out of their hands. So today, our seed may look like not showing up, showing up when we're exhausted mentally, spiritually, physically, choosing character, choosing actions that people will never see, maybe never understand, but choosing it anyway, praying when you feel empty, when you've got nothing left, still getting on your knees and actually saying that, God, I have nothing left, yet here I am, and trusting God with a future that scares us individually. You know, I've learned over time to say, Lord, I don't understand, but I submit to you. You are the master of the ship. You are my guide. You are my light. You are my hope. trust him even when the future is scary, and staying faithful even when our heart's breaking, because tragedy happens, bad things happen, sad things happen, right? A good friend of mine who is a pastor said to me the other day, actually, that this is not our home. And we have to remember that this is not the final destination. So tears don't weaken your seed, they water it. Tears are necessary. It's okay to weep. It's okay to grieve. It's okay to express. I do say that that expression, yes, happens alone in the secret place with God, but also must be expressed in safe and respected places. Not everybody is where you should express, not everyone in every place is where you should express that. Okay. But tears do water. Okay. And then there's the guaranteed harvest. The verse shifts and says, shall doubtless come again with rejoicing, bringing his sheaves with him. Right? There's a hymn bringing in their sheaves. Okay, we shall come rejoicing, bringing in the sheaves. Right? If you know that, right? I'm old school. Okay, but doubtless means certain, guaranteed, banking on it. What God is saying is, if you keep sowing in faith, I will bring you back with a harvest in your hands. The place you cried will become a place you celebrate. What broke you will become the thing that builds you. Your faithfulness in the dark will become your joy in the light. I want you to marinate on that for a little bit. The place you cried, excuse me, will be the place you celebrate. What broke you will be the thing that builds you. And your faithfulness in the dark will become joy in the light. So, how does that speak to us today? For those walking through the end of a relationship or the death of a loved one, you're sowing through heartbreak. Heartbreak happens, but God is not done with you. Okay, I have met many people in the last few years that have lost loved ones, and you're sowing in that heartbreak. God is not done. For those that are in the rebuilding stage, career change, money change, or stress, identity shifts, whatever, you're pivoting, right? When you're rebuilding, the actions that you take are the seeds. And for those that are just in that grief, crying silently, right? Your private tears count, and God sees when nobody else sees. For those that are taking actions that nobody understands, God sees that. For those that you could say things but you hold back, God sees that. When you operate in honor and character and grace and kindness, God sees that. And for those of you fighting for your family, for your faith, or your future, your consistency today becomes your legacy tomorrow. And please hear me. We all either are going or do go through things in various different seasons, different scenarios, but it's part of the human condition. We do go through things, but we need to grow through things. And we do that with the promises of God. We first thing is on your knees with him, sharing, and then with that trusted posse around you. So the challenge today, right, or how I touch, move, and inspire you to move forward is, number one, keep going. Even with tears in your eyes, movement is victory. Hear that. Please. Movement is victory. A key component in this new book that I'm writing is physical fitness, is moving, is getting the body. You've got to move, not just fear. You've got to move mentally. You got to move physically. You got to move spiritually. You got to move, and movement is victory. Sometimes getting out of bed is the victory. Sometimes picking up the phone and calling a trusted friend is victory. Challenge number 2 is keep sowing. Your daily obedience is building your future. You know what actions to take. We all do. What do I need to do today to keep moving forward? What action can I take? What step can I make? How can I keep moving forward? Challenge number 3 is expectation. Expecting the harvest, not maybe, not hopefully, doubtless. Scripture says, shall doubtless come again with rejoicing. Expectation that God will deliver on his promises. Key. Again, we're all going through it in some form or fashion. If you're not going through it now, something, that's just the seasons of life. I'm not being a doomsayer at all. It's seasons, right? We age. We have family members that are doing that, right? We have challenges at work. Jesus says, right? You're everybody has trouble. You're not getting out of this one without it. Okay. It's part of life. But pain always has a purpose. Pain has a process to it. And I want you to pay attention to that and the promises of God. So, my friends, hear me. Your tears are not wasted. Your pain has purpose. Your seed has power. Your harvest is on the way. So, stay faithful, stay strong, and keep showing up. My call to action today is share this episode with someone who's struggling. Join the community right. There's a little banner going by on how to follow on social media. Just launched this thing on Instagram that's a direct community, the Power Posse, the Man Up Already Power Posse. If you're on Instagram, find me. If you don't see that, I think you can click it. But if you can't, let me know. Get in, right? Because we're going to put stuff on there as well. If this speaks to you, please leave a review, like, share, subscribe. Help spread the message. Listen, I love you. If you're here today, I love you. Thank you so much for just giving me a little bit of time, for showing up, for listening, and for getting engaged. I pray for you. I really do. If this is on a platform where you can comment, let us know how we can, because we do that. We're building community here. I care about each and every one of you. I can't tell you how much I appreciate you spending a little time with me today, and keep moving forward, because one day you will be rejoicing. God bless everyone. Take care.